Valley is the founder and co-director of the Richmond Young Writers. She wrote for Style Weekly from 2004 to 2011. Served on the board for James River Writers, and she's received the Teresa Pollock Award for Words in 2014. Her words have contributed to many, many publications, but I think the best way to get a feel for Valley, and then we'll bring her up here for you, is I want to just read you the introduction to her book here. It's called The Halfway House for Writers. She was nice enough to give me a copy a few weeks ago when we met, signed it on this page back here. So I started reading through it, and it's a beautiful book. I think you could change the name and say The Halfway House for Living Life. I mean, there's so much in here that goes beyond just writing. It definitely applies to writing. So I'm just going to give you the welcome to the Halfway House. You know everything you need to know. You have everything you need to have. Nothing has been wasted, none of your writing and none of your time. Even lost years and lost manuscripts were necessary to bring you where you are now. All that's lost can be salvaged. You bring with you the most sacred and the most profane. You bring wisdom and humor and a broken, healing heart. You bring your living body and your limitless soul and enough stories, thoughts, and dreams to fill 1,000 books. There is no hurry, there is no pressure, there is no wrong way to do this. There is no rule book, there is no map, save for what's inside of you. You know now which voices to trust and which to lay gently aside. There is nothing you have to prove or solve or figure out. There is no timetable or there is no timeline or deadline. You can trust the words that come. You can trust yourself. You were brought here for this. You were led to this. This is why you are here, and welcome home to Valley.
Thank you. Wonderful, thank you. Hi, everybody. You look beautiful, and I'm really excited and also really terrified to be here today, but it's my real pleasure to join you this morning. Thanks so much for coming. When I was a stewardess on a cruise ship in Alaska, the captain of the fleet said to me, "Valley, beautiful women have the power to create or destroy. Be careful which one you choose." Well, like beautiful women, words too have the power to create or destroy. They are a primal, basic tool like fire. Shakespeare was particularly talented with insults. We have some of his best up here. "Thou art a knave, a rascal, an eater of broken meats." Words have the power to break apart, to ignite wars, and even at their worst, to dehumanize. On the other hand, words are a powerful vehicle for healing and for the powerful emotion of love. They can bring us together. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. LOL. This is me when I was little. When I was 7, I told my mother that when I grew up, I wanted to be a famous reader. I loved reading. I read all the time. She had to make me go outside to play dodgeball so I could get hit in the head like everyone else. Words helped me imagine who I could be. They helped me travel and explore the world. In high school, I fell in love with the high art of passing notes. I also fell in love with storytelling and writing. I went to the UVA Young Writers Workshop the summers that I was 15 and 16, and that really changed my life. For the first time, I was treated with the respect of a real writer, and I was hooked. I fell in love. I also, around this time, swore that I would never drink or do drugs because I didn't want it to interfere with my creativity. Ha. Then I went to college. Even though I won the school-wide fiction contest my freshman year, I didn't believe that I would ever be able to make it in the academic elite world of writing. And I started to use words to turn them against myself. You suck. You'll never measure up. Who do you think you are? You're a poor, dirty, provincial Virginia girl. I used words to compare, judge, condemn, and criticize. So I sought out some means of medicating and numbing these feelings and turned to drugs and alcohol. And it was also a lot of fun. This was my Dorothy Parker stage. To get away from the academic world of what I considered elite academia, I got as far away as I could. I went and became first a cabin girl on a dude ranch, then a hotel maid in Arkansas, and then I became a stewardess on a cruise ship in Alaska. I had my books and my writing with me, but I also lived a life that would have made Greek tragedy jealous and Jerry Springer very proud. On the dock in Alaska, I called my mom, and she said, "Valley, I think it's time to come home." And I said, "I'm not done traveling. I want to go. I want to keep going. I want to keep going." And she said, "The real journeys aren't out there. They're inside you." And that resonated with me. I came home, I got sober, and in recovery, at the age of 23, I turned to journaling to start to unknot, to process, to heal and transform. I put it all out there on the page. These are a few of my journals. Then life happened. I got married. I had multiple miscarriages, surgeries. I felt very far away from my writing. I had to get a job. I had a son, a huge blessing and miracle. To help me feel reconnected, my husband bought me a class in creative writing fiction at the Virginia Museum. There, I met a guy who worked for Style Weekly. He was the calendar editor. I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet. He also had a job at Home Depot at night. I mean, he had it made. He had arrived. I said, "How is it that you write for Style Weekly?" And he said, "How is it that you don't?" And he walked me step by step through the process of submitting an article. I had never done any journalism before, but I was extremely eager and very punctual. Those are the two things I recommend the most in your writing career: be eager and punctual. My editor rewrote every single word of that first article. I was so excited to see my name in print, though. I had that first piece laminated at Kinko's. And I asked her if I could write a second piece, and she said, "I guess I'll give you another try." I memorized what she'd done. She didn't change a word of my second article. And by the week that my son was born, I was offered the job as book editor at Style Weekly. I felt like I was writing for the New Yorker. Even though the paychecks that I received didn't cover utility bills, I had arrived. Through Style, I had the opportunity to write reviews, read books, interview authors who were still my heroes, organize fiction contests, and really submerge myself in the world of writing. The author Azir Nafitsi, who wrote Reading Lolita and Tehran, told me during a phone interview that books were the only place she allowed herself to be promiscuous. I wish I had followed her advice. Then 2008 happened. I got laid off from my desk job at Style and lost my insurance, and came to a crossroads. I had to choose whether to find a secure desk job with insurance or writing and ramen noodles. I chose writing and ramen noodles. In 2009, I founded Richmond Young Writers, a year-round program dedicated to teaching the craft and joy of creative writing to young people, ages 9 to 17, much like it happened for me. And this was founded in an upstairs gallery room of Chop Suey Books in Carytown. In 2010, I started teaching classes for adults at bookshops and coffee shops all over Richmond. In 2014, Bird Cox and I founded the Writing Room in Carytown next to Chop Suey. Thanks to my husband for all the renovations that happened there. Now, this is something really special. After years of teaching creative nonfiction classes and having these amazing, beautiful, powerful stories written in class, personal narratives, week after week, for years I had been telling my students, that is amazing, you have to send it somewhere. In 2015, I decided to become that somewhere, and I started the online literary magazine, Life in 10 Minutes, based on the 10-minute writing that happened in my classes. Today happens to be the 1-year anniversary of Life in 10 Minutes. When this talk was canceled last Friday, I was both incredibly relieved because I was about to have a heart attack the whole week before, but also very disappointed because I'm so passionate about what I have to say. And I was thinking about it, and I realized, it hit me, that if this talk were rescheduled for today, it would be on the 1-year anniversary, and that felt just right. Life in 10 Minutes publishes 10-minute pieces now, not just from my own students, by people all over the world. I publish 2 unique pieces every weekday, and I cannot do the math. If anybody can help me with that, I haven't been able to figure it out, as well as my own 10-minute writing. Last year as well, I wrote a book called The Halfway House for Writers that contains my personal journey of transformation through writing, everything that I've learned along the way. A great majority of it from my students and watching their writing process unfold in such beautiful ways. I developed some rules for the Halfway House as a result of hearing what happened in class time and time again. So I'm going to go through these rules with you. Number 1, surrender your weapons. We have been our own worst enemies and our own worst critics for long enough. It's time to stop the sadomasochism. Seek shelter. Create a frame for your words, for the messy, vibrant paint of your words. Please fence me in. I want to be a wild, free spirit who writes with abandon, but the truth is I need structure, and my guess is you do too. 10 minutes at a time has become that structure for me. Free write. Let it rip. Let it all pour out. Don't stop and edit as you go. Let your first draft be a first draft. 4, handwrite. I believe there's a connection that happens between the head, the heart, and the hand. You can Google the health benefits and the positive impact of writing by hand. I feel it intuitively. I'm glad people have been doing research about it. Skip the small talk. If there's an elephant in the room, don't spend too much time describing the wallpaper behind the couch it's sitting on. Get to the meat and potatoes. Writing doesn't have to be a cocktail party full of witty one-liners. Listen. After you have written your work, read it out loud. Something really powerful happens when we listen to our own words. Very often in my classes, this is the time when people will laugh or shake or sweat or cry. It's a good sign. It means you've hit the right vein. And lastly, don't apologize. You don't have to apologize for being a human being who wrote something down. We all want to explain why our work is too self-indulgent, too personal, TMI, silly, ridiculous. It's a first draft. Let it be. Now that you know the rules, you're ready to start writing. At the beginning of every single creative nonfiction class I teach, we start with the prompt, "Right now I am." It helps us arrive in the room and on the page. I truly believe that everything that we want to write about is connected to the present moment. And if we follow the present moment long enough on gossamer threads, we will arrive through the story of our life. Get naked. Let it rip. Be vulnerable. A couple of years ago, I was asked to participate in the Artists and Writers show at Randolph-Macon. And I chose an artist who paints women naked because it was the scariest thing I could think of. And I knew I needed to take a creative risk. That's what keeps me alive. One of the most profound parts of this experience was when the artist suggested to me that I not edit the writing that I was doing for this show. So not only did I hang naked on the wall, but my words hung naked there as well. And it was one of the most profound experiences in realizing what it's like to be an authentic human being. Extract your splinters one at a time. When I sit down to write, I take a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual body scan to see what hurts. And I start pulling out the splinters of my experience and putting them on the page. Whether you start with the biggest or the smallest first doesn't matter, but I think it's important that you do this. Over the years, I have written articles and posts about being an addict and alcoholic, about my miscarriages and hysterectomy, about my online affair and my affair with food, about being a teenage bisexual, and about that one time I let our house become overrun by cockroaches. It has felt excruciating at first, but the impact of putting my truth on the page and sharing it first with a room and then with a wider audience has been one of the most healing experiences of my life. Turn your shit into gold. Writing might be the one chance at alchemy we have in this lifetime. Take the raw, ugly, messy shit of your life and turn it into art. Turn it into an experience that could help someone else. Words have the power to heal, transform, help you remember, process, pray, dream, unknot, visualize, explore, create, and discover. I hope you will write your story 10 minutes at a time and submit them to Life in 10 Minutes and join an international community of people who are healing and transforming their lives by turning their shit into gold. Thank you.